It's a perfect summer Saturday. The grill is smoking, the whole family is in the backyard, music is playing, and your dog is weaving happily between everyone's legs, tail wagging, hoping for a scrap. Someone tosses them a little piece of hamburger. Grandpa slips them a rib bone under the table. A child drops half a hot dog, and your dog inhales it in one gulp. Everybody laughs. It feels like the most wonderful, harmless part of the whole day. But here is the truth that terrifies me as a veterinarian. The week after the 4th of July and every single summer weekend after it, my emergency clinic fills up with dogs who are vomiting, doubled over in pain, or fighting for their lives. And almost every one of them got that way from a backyard barbecue. The very foods we hand our dogs out of love are landing them on my surgery table. So before your next cookout, I need you to watch this entire video because what I'm about to show you could be the difference between a fun summer and the worst night of your life. I know that sounds dramatic, but I need you to understand something. A barbecue is basically a minefield laid out at your dog's nose level. The grease, the bones, the corn, the sweet desserts, the alcohol, the overflowing trash can, and a dozen well meaning guests who have no idea what is actually poisonous to a dog. But what if I told you that you don't have to lock your dog inside and ruin their summer? What if in the next few minutes you could learn exactly which barbecue foods send dogs to the emergency room, the warning signs to watch for, and the simple game plan that lets your dog enjoy the party safely right alongside you? Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Grace Yoon, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. In my 15 years of clinical practice, the stretch of summer between Memorial Day and Labor Day is hands down my busiest season for food emergencies. And I hear the same devastated sentence over and over. Dr. Grace, we had no idea. We thought we were giving them a treat. And please, if that has ever been you, I want you to drop the guilt at the door right now. You are not a bad pet parent. You were being generous. Nobody handed us a list of what's actually dangerous. But today, that changes. We are doing a complete masterclass on barbecue and cookout safety. I'm going to walk you through the most dangerous foods at every single summer party, in order. The ones that cause choking and blockages, the ones that are outright toxic, and the silent killers most people have never even heard of. Then I'll show you the safe treats you actually can share and my simple party game plan. So grab a notebook, hit that subscribe button to protect more pets this summer, and let's dive right in. Let's start with danger number one, and this is the one that lands the most dogs on my surgery table every single July: the corn on the cob. Now, corn itself, the actual kernels, is not toxic to dogs. A few plain kernels are fine. The killer is the cob. Here is what happens. Your dog snatches a half-eaten cob off a plate or out of the trash, and because it smells like butter and salt and delicious grilled corn, they don't chew it carefully. They gulp it down in big chunks. That cob does not break down in the stomach. It cannot be digested. It travels into the small intestine and gets stuck, creating a complete blockage. Picture a cork jammed into a bottle. Nothing can pass. Within a day or two, your dog stops eating, starts vomiting, their belly becomes painful and bloated, and this becomes a life-threatening emergency that requires major surgery to remove. I have performed this exact surgery more times than I can count, and it is heartbreaking every time, because it is so easily prevented. So here is your instruction. Corn cobs are absolutely never, ever given to a dog, not even to gnaw on. And it is not enough to just not hand it to them. The real danger is the trash. That greasy trash bag full of cobs is the single most tempting target in your entire backyard. Which brings me to a rule I want you to live by all summer. Your barbecue trash needs to be behind a closed door or in a locked, dog-proof can the entire day. If your dog is suddenly refusing food, vomiting repeatedly, and their stomach looks swollen after a party, do not wait and see. Call your vet or an emergency clinic immediately. Now, danger number two lives right next to those cobs on the picnic table, and it's just as sneaky. The skewers and the kebabs. Think about what a bamboo skewer is coated in after grilling. Juicy meat, marinade, grease. To a dog, that thin wooden stick smells like the best treat in the world. They will snatch a used skewer right off a plate and swallow it, sharp splintering wood and all. And a swallowed skewer is a genuine nightmare, because that sharp point can actually puncture the wall of the stomach or the intestines from the inside, causing internal bleeding and a massive infection. The same danger applies to those little plastic or frilled toothpicks holding sandwiches and appetizers together. So the instruction here is simple but critical. Used skewers, kebab sticks, and toothpicks go straight into that same locked, dog-proof trash, never left on a plate at the edge of a table where a tall dog can counterserve. Count your skewers if you have to. If you know your dog managed to swallow one, this is not a wait-and-see situation. Go to the emergency vet right away and tell them exactly what happened. That naturally leads us to danger number 3. And this one surprises a lot of loving pet parents because it feels so traditional. Cooked bones. We have this image in our heads of a happy dog gnawing on a big bone, right? But cooked bones, especially the rib bones, chicken wings, and drumsticks that dominate a summer barbecue, are extremely dangerous. Here's the science. Raw bones are soft and flexible, but the moment a bone is cooked, it dries out and becomes brittle and hard. When your dog chews it, instead of bending, it shatters into razor-sharp splinters. Those splinters can crack your dog's teeth, or far worse, they can lodge in the throat and cause choking, or slice the delicate lining of the esophagus, stomach, and intestines all the way down. Chicken bones from wings and thighs are especially notorious for this, so please, hear me on this. No dog should ever be given a cooked bone from your plate. And just like the cobs and the skewers, the biggest risk is the trash and the plates left within reach. If you want to give your dog something to chew, wait for the safe options I'll share at the end of this video. All right, danger number 4 is where we move from choking hazards into true toxins. And this one is hiding in almost everything on the table. Onions and garlic. This is the danger that guests cause without ever realizing it. Onions, garlic, chives, and leeks are all part of the allium family, and they are genuinely toxic to dogs. They contain compounds that damage a dog's red blood cells, and over the next few days, this can lead to a dangerous type of anemia. And here is what makes it so tricky at a barbecue. It is not just about slipping your dog a slice of raw onion. Think about everything that is secretly loaded with onion and garlic. The seasoning on the burgers, the hamburger and hot dog toppings, barbecue sauce, ketchup and many condiments, potato salad, pasta salad, coleslaw, dips, and marinades. When Uncle Joe slips your dog a big bite of his fully loaded cheeseburger, he thinks he's giving them plain beef. He's actually giving them a patty seasoned with onion powder and garlic salt, smothered in sauce. So the instruction is this: no table scraps and no seasoned human food, period. The safest rule at a party is that your dog's food comes only from you and only from a source you know is plain and safe. Now, danger number 5 is a silent one that most people have truly never heard of, and it can turn a fun weekend into a week in the hospital. Fatty foods and pancreatitis. A barbecue is a feast of fat. The trimmed edges of a steak, the greasy skin of the chicken, sausage, bacon, buttery drippings, hot dogs. When a dog who normally eats plain kibble suddenly gets a big load of rich, fatty food, it can violently overwhelm their pancreas. The pancreas is the organ that produces digestive enzymes, and a sudden fat overload can trigger a painful, sometimes fatal condition called pancreatitis, where the organ essentially becomes inflamed and begins to digest itself. It is agonizing for the dog, and it very often means hospitalization on IV fluids for days. Real-world example. I once had a healthy little dachshund come in the Monday after a July 4th party. The whole weekend, 5 different family members had each been sneaking him bits of bacon, sausage, and fatty burger, each one thinking their little piece was harmless. By Monday, he was curled up, refusing to move, vomiting, and in severe pain. It wasn't one big mistake. It was a dozen small, loving mistakes that added up to a serious case of pancreatitis. So watch for those signs after a party: a hunched over posture, a swollen or painful belly, repeated vomiting, diarrhea, and refusing to eat. Those are red flags that need a vet. Danger number 6 is the one that hides in the drinks and the desserts, and it contains some of the fastest acting poisons of the whole day. First, alcohol. That cup of beer or the sweet cocktail someone sets down on the ground while they grab a plate is right at dog level. Alcohol affects dogs far, far more powerfully than it affects us, and even a small amount can cause dangerous drops in blood sugar, body temperature, and breathing. Never leave unattended alcoholic drinks where a curious dog can reach them. Next, the dessert table, which is a minefield of its own. Chocolate, as many of you know, is toxic to dogs, and the darker it is, the more dangerous. But here is the one I need to tattoo onto your brain, because it is the deadliest and the least known: xylitol. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener now found in tons of sugar-free desserts, sugar-free gum, some peanut butters, and even some baked goods, and companies are increasingly relabeling it as birch sugar. Xylitol is catastrophically toxic to dogs. Even a tiny amount can cause a dog's blood sugar to crash and their liver to fail, and it can be fatal shockingly fast. So read every dessert label and keep all gum, candy, and sugar-free treats completely out of reach. And one more from the fruit bowl, because it looks so innocent. Grapes and raisins. We still don't fully understand why, but grapes and raisins can cause sudden kidney failure in dogs, even in small amounts. So that fruit salad and those little snack boxes of raisins are strictly off limits. Now, before we finish, I promised you the good news. So let's talk about danger number 7, which is really about the environment of the party itself, and then the treats you actually can share. The environment danger is the great escape. During a busy barbecue, the gate gets left open, guests come in and out, and in the chaos, dogs slip away and get lost, or worse, run into the street. Combine that with the summer heat, and a panicked dog outside with no water is in real danger. So designate one person to be on gate duty, make sure your dog is microchipped and wearing tags, and always keep a bowl of fresh, cool water in a shaded spot. Now for the part you've been waiting for. Yes, your dog can absolutely be part of the fun. Here are the safe treats you can share as long as they are plain and unseasoned. Plain, cooked, unseasoned lean meat, a little piece of burger with no salt, sauce, or onion. A few plain corn kernels sliced right off the cob. Seedless watermelon with the rind removed, which is hydrating and perfect for summer. Plain green beans, carrot sticks, or a slice of plain apple with no seeds. And cooked plain potato or sweet potato. Keep the portions small, keep them plain, and your dog gets to celebrate right along with the family. So let's pull this all together, because I know I just threw a lot at you and you might be feeling a little overwhelmed picturing your next cookout. Here is my golden rule, and it makes all of this simple. You do not need to memorize every single food on that table. Instead, just run your whole party on one simple game plan. Before the guests arrive, feed your dog a full, normal meal, so they're satisfied and less likely to beg and scavenge. Then announce one house rule to everyone there in a friendly way. Please do not feed the dog, only I feed the dog today. Put a cute little sign on the food table if it helps. Keep all trash behind a closed door. Keep a bowl of cool water in the shade. And if you want your dog to have a treat, you be the one to give them something plain and safe from my list. That one game plan: feed them first, control the treats, lock the trash, protects your dog from every single danger we talked about today, all at once. Being a pet parent during the fun, chaotic, delicious summer season can feel like a lot to manage. But the fact that you sat here and watched this entire video proves what a loving, devoted pet parent you truly are. Your dog doesn't understand why they can't have grandpa's rib bone, but every safe, happy, healthy summer party you give them is you protecting them out of pure love. If this masterclass gave you some peace of mind before your next cookout, please do me a huge favor and tap that like button. It tells the algorithm that this kind of safe, practical veterinary advice deserves to reach more dogs before somebody's barbecue turns into an emergency, and it genuinely helps our channel protect more pets. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss a masterclass, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below. What is the one food your dog is always trying to steal at a family party? And are you going to try the Feed Them First game plan this weekend? I read every single comment, and I love hearing about your dogs. Give your sweet pup a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Grace. Stay safe, trust your instincts, and I'll see you all in the very next video.